Talk about a great question. When we built, here's how Bowman, basically how Bowman discussions took place. It started last year. Bowman didn't perform very well. Bowman Chrome didn't perform well. We had issues with the Bowman brand name, which we value so tremendously. And you can't really get an appreciation for how much brand equity means to us, because we all look at, we want to be, I remember talking to these guys about Allen & Ginter and saying, man, next year's Allen & Ginter is going to be so great because we haven't sold this one yet, and the anticipation is so great, and there's, we look a year from now. Well, last year around Bowman, it was, we almost have to reinvent ourselves, because what the Bowman brand represents isn't what we want it to be. We want it to be very much more collectible and highly anticipated. So what happens then, sales comes in, we forecast our business, we share that, we have many meetings about it, and Clay and his team go to work and say, we need to build a great brand because this needs so much more. So based on that, a lot of momentum occurred, and the number that we sold at Bowman this year was phenomenal in terms of quantities, okay? And the product delivered above expectation. Our intention is not to have a product that might normally sell for $100 a box, sell for $300 or $400 a box. That's not our intention. I mean, we don't. We want to build a product that delivers $100 worth of value or around there, because that's ultimately going to have a satisfied consumer at the end. They're going to buy a box, they're going to open it up, and they're going to say, well, I got my value out of it. Well, if the end consumer is now paying $300 for the same box, they may get $100 worth of value out of it and be very disappointed. So we don't control the secondary market. Our big part of our job is to determine the marketplace at a particular point in time and come up with the exact number of the amount of product to put in the marketplace while building the best product possible. There's so many other variables that take place during that time. And we could probably come up with 50 things that occurred that allowed it to happen. But we don't benefit from that extra $200. And you said, now you mentioned the distributors, secondary market, people are making money. Last year at this time, people were making money on Bowman. So we're ecstatic that people are making money because they reinvested in the business. Collectors spend more, hobby stores buy more, distributors buy more, and we're able to grow the marketplace, which is all what we want to do anyway, best for all of us. So our intention is never to say, let's build this so the end consumer is disappointed. As a matter of fact, it's just the opposite. But there will be many variables that take place. A hot rookie, and again, this is really very unusual to have a rookie card drive the business. We have to go back to 2001, Pujols and Ichiro, and really we believe that it's exceeded that height that what we're seeing now. So it's a complicated issue, one that we thought we managed pretty well up until the point that we saw the product take off. We thought, from Clay's perspective, he was convinced that it was a fantastic product, one that the marketplace could embrace. We felt that we had a good product to sell, and it was distributed properly. We all felt we did our job, and we exceeded all our expectations. So it's a complicated thing, but you have to know that we don't build it with that intention. We want to build products for people to make money, but not to where we price people out of buying.
So does the game plan change though now that
it does?
You've got a product coming up.
It does. Every release, every day, we're tweaking the process. And from a sales standpoint, John and I work together closely to determine the forecast. We're most successful as a company if we can plan for the next release of the product, and the next release, and the next year's release of that product. And so we spend the majority of our time trying to analyze different data points to come up with what that is. And yeah, there's certain things that we take that we will tweak a product and alter based on the current marketplace, cash flow concerns, economics, and other things.
I mean, I realize it's a tough issue for you because you're not changing your box price. I mean, your price to the distributors, but now there's this expectation of value to the consumer that is unfair to you in some respects, but yet the consumer is bought in incredibly high now on a release that's not even going to happen until after Strasburg's right done pitching for the year.
Yeah, and it goes back really to we don't manipulate the secondary market. So and we've had a run of I think 13 out of 14 maybe products in baseball that are performing 10 to 300% above cost, whatever. I mean, very successful products, unprecedented run. There's times where they're not that successful. Okay, and so the same thing that happens on this end happens on the other end, that we put a product we believe that's going to do well in the marketplace, and the economy tanks, or it's released with other products that it competes against, and it doesn't perform as well. So there are other variables that take place that push it the other way too. And now we say, well, geez, we sold the product for more what the secondary market's buying it for. So there are a lot of different things that go on that make this hobby so unique and why we all love it so much. You know, there's so many changes on a daily basis that impact decision making. And you know, our job is really to manage that as much as possible. And it's not always easy.
Yeah, and the key thing too about the way we distribute products is understanding to the best of our ability and just predicting and forecasting the supply and demand curve, and then managing the distribution network to the most controlled level that we can, to try to know where virtually every box goes and where it's being sold for. And David spends, you know, half his day monitoring the secondary market to see where those buys are at and those sells are at. But again, it is something that we don't control, and we focus on the areas that we focus on. And it's funny because, you know, this time last year, we wouldn't be having this type of a conversation. That's how quick the switch can flip.